Now we begin. You have asked in this hour for me to abide with you, to join with you, yet again as your brother and as your friend, and perhaps as one still seen, as one who has gone ahead a little bit. Yet I say unto you, always our minds are joined, always our hearts beat as one, always our very life is the life of the love extended from the mind of God, that is the extension of creation itself, and forever and always the Son is one. And yet within creation it can appear that I have gone ahead a little ways, while you believe you yet linger, getting a final taste of shadows long since outgrown. And yet we are a conspiracy. That is, we breathe together to bring light to every shadow and every illusion. We breathe together to bring forth the perfect remembrance of God. And God is but love. And if we are to breathe together, if we are to embrace creation and allow through us a transformation of creation to occur so that all things are returned to the light of God's love, it becomes necessary to look at what creation is doing. Where am I in this moment? Do you abide in a world in which it is not necessary to speak words? Do you abide in a dimension in which it is not necessary to strive to communicate from one mind to another? Do you live in a world in which it is clear that there is no divisiveness between minds? Of course not. Therefore, if you would breathe with me, if you would desire truly to bring forth the love of God and to transform the shadows, the illusions, the obstacles to the presence of love, understand then that you are asked to assume responsibility for what you would choose to communicate and for how you would choose to do so. Communication is a simple term. It simply means to create that experience in which two minds come into union, so that one idea, one vibration informs both minds and is valued equally by them. All of you have had the experience of genuine communication. For when communication succeeds, the mind is transcended, the heart opens, and there is a joining at the level of the soul or the depth of the mind that far transcends anything which can be uttered by words or even symbolized by words. So the goal of communication is always the same: to link two minds together at such a depth of union that separation is transcended and the love of God remembered as the only reality. Communication to establish communion. I have shared with you before that there are 4 keys to the kingdom: desire, intention, allowance, surrender. Therefore, what you desire in any moment is of utmost importance. For from your desire, you will begin to move creation, move the energy of mind in a certain direction, that will have a certain flavor, a certain vibration. If you desire to breathe with me, let your desire be singular of purpose. Father, how might I extend my treasure this day? And my treasure is the gift of union with you that you have given to me before the foundation of all worlds. And I long that my brothers and sisters awaken to the remembrance of that union that lives within their own hearts and their own minds. Let my life in this world while it lasts be given only to the extension of the good, the holy, and the beautiful. And if that is your desire, set it in stone, if you will, with your intention. And an intention is simply a clear decision in the mind that the wholeness of your being will be committed to and dedicated to the fulfillment of your desire. In the realm of intention comes one simple question. How can I communicate in this moment the depth of my intended desire to bless the world with the love of God? You will always communicate what you most desire and intend to communicate. You are infallible at this in each moment, and you never blunder. Therefore, where communication seems to be unclear, you may rest assured that there has been an unclear intention and desire, perhaps even a denial of the desire to join in loving union with another, that is, to be the presence of Christ who blesses the world. This is why, if you would truly master communication, you must seek first the kingdom, that all these things might be added unto you. And what does that mean? The path of awakening requires discipline. And well do I know that many of you think that discipline is a heavy burden. It is not. Separation is a heavy burden. To be disciplined simply means to be a disciple of. And of what? Of love. To recognize that love is the greatest good, that wisdom your greatest power, that union is your greatest truth, that you are as God created you to be. And why would you ever again want to waste a moment trying to be something you're not? So discipline means to turn away from the illusion, the temptation of giving up your Christedness and assuming the mantle of responsibility. I will be a disciple of the truth, and I will rest at its altar even prior to every breath. I will cultivate within myself the skill necessary to turn every decision over to the Comforter, the Holy Spirit. I will discipline my mind. I will learn to be a master of the kingdom given unto me, which is simply your own mind, your own field of awareness. And I will dedicate the fields in my kingdom to that which can bring forth great fruit and offer it to my Creator. What would your life be like if prior to every thought you remembered your primary desire and thereby remembered your purpose for incarnation? What would your life be like if you were so fully disciplined within your own mind that only loving thoughts were spoken with your words? If you remembered your Creator so thoroughly that before any situation, before anything is uttered or done, you ask within quietly, Father, what would you have me do? That love might be extended and offered. Communication then requires discipline, and discipline grows from committed intention and a clarification of your deepest desire. For you will always experience exactly what you're desiring. Muddled communication, look within. Is there a fear of genuine intimacy? Is there a reluctance toward forgiveness? Is there a blockage in the emotional body? Here's a simple prayer that you can utilize each of your days until it becomes second nature for you. When you rise in the morning, before you speak a single word or take a single action, go within the heart. Lay upon the altar of the heart all that you think you've learned up to this point, and remember that you need do nothing. Remember that you know nothing. And then ask, Father, this day I find myself in this world. What would you have me communicate this day with my actions, with my words, and with my very thoughts? Then rest in silence and see what presents itself to the screen of your awareness. Trust that prayer. Learn to use it often until it's second nature, so that in any moment, at any time, that is as the soil from which each moment is springing. Father, what would you have me communicate in this day or in this moment? You see, the essence of genuine communication is the remembrance that you belong to no one but God. The essence of communication will flow more effortlessly when you behold the other as belonging only to God, not to the ego, not to illusion, not to you, not to another. They too are God's, and therefore your Creator wishes only to communicate through you to His own. And nothing can have greater value than the communication of that which heals, that which enfolds and embraces, that which forgives, and that which loves. For what you communicate one unto another, rest assured you immediately receive for yourself. And here's the nub of the issue. If you want God, if you want to breathe one breath with your Creator, become so selfish in the domain of your own mind that all you communicate are your loving thoughts, that all you do is bless the world. For in this way, you are blessed, and as you give Christ, you remember Christ, until Christ never fades from your awareness. And then indeed, you are free. Communication requires then, in any given moment of relationship, that someone assume responsibility for remembering that neither party knows anything. Now, often we would see that in your relationships, one would like to enter into that state, but is quite sure the other one doesn't want to, and so then needs to defend themselves and steps into egoic consciousness, and off you go, spinning like your planet, getting nowhere. The purpose of communication is to teach only love. Therefore, wait on no one. Don't wait to see if your mate or friend wants to enter that place. Assume responsibility for doing it for yourself so that you can offer it freely to another. And rest assured, if you resent the fact that they haven't entered into it with you, you didn't offer it freely. Become selfish enough that you will not settle for communicating anything less than that which your Creator would extend through you, so that by doing so, you receive it yourself. Communication is life. Communication is relationship. It has nothing to do with the juxtaposition of bodies in space and time, since that is not what you are. Communication is relationship. Relationship is the means of your salvation. And therefore, if I might paraphrase a phrase from your Bible, count it all joy when those around you persecute you or attack you. For remember that in that moment you are given the power to teach only love, to remember your desire, to stay firm in your intention, and thereby receive the gifts of being the one who blesses this world. That rather makes sense, doesn't it? Oh, that's right. What is it that I want to communicate? What is it I am most desirous of learning more thoroughly? That only love is real. I want it for myself so deeply, so thoroughly, that nothing can enter into the field of awareness I call myself save the presence of God. Can you care enough about that you couldn't care less what anybody else on the planet wants? You become so selfish that you see that each moment of time is an incredible opportunity to remember the truth by extending it. To remember that there is no such thing as time off. Since each thought creates an experience, a domain, a world that fills your awareness. What would you drink into your field of awareness? Pain and suffering, or joy and freedom? Peace and the presence of Christ. When I walked your planet as a man, I had need of learning exactly what I am seeking to communicate with you. And if there has been any power that has touched you in the few words that I've used so far, it is only because I have cultivated the clarity of my desire and made concrete my intention. And through the use of time as a man, and through the use of communication since I left your planet, with every mind that would open its heart to me, I have perfected the purity of one desire, to teach only love. The power of your communication, then, flows from the depth of your commitment and your discipline and the willingness to learn how to use the tools available to you, whether it be a pen and a piece of paper, whether it be a drawing or a painting, whether it be a hug or a handshake, whether it be a smile or a kiss upon the cheek. Can you use every gesture, every tool available in your world to teach only love, to discover what it means to lay your hand on the shoulder of a friend out of union with God, having asked first, Father, what would you have me communicate? How can this hand be a vessel or a vehicle that extends the blessing of the Comforter? To learn how to speak in complete sentences. To learn how to take a thought and struggle with whatever you need to struggle with until you have crystallized it in the best words that you can find. Can you care enough about yourself to perfect and master the forms through which you can communicate while in this world? And can you ever come to an end to that? Of course not. Since perfection is unlimited, creation merely extends itself more and more and more and more, revealing the good, the holy, and the beautiful. And all of you know what it's like to sit down and listen to someone who's just learning to play a violin. And you know what it's like to listen to a master. Something in what the master has accomplished can touch your heart more deeply, more purely, like a sword that cuts to the core, reveals its gifts. Would you be willing to become committed to one whose communication is so pure, so crystal clear, that when you communicate love to another, they get it. They get it so profoundly that lifetimes of suffering are dissolved in an instant. That merely by looking in your eyes, they remember God. For that is the commitment of anyone who birthed Christ in their own awareness. Oh yes, communication is very important. For what you communicate and how you choose to do so speaks to the world of what you most desire and what your deepest intention is for yourself. Therefore, in each word, in each gesture, in each activity you choose to participate in, you are speaking your message to the world. You are telling the world what your judgment of God is. Pure and simple. Become, therefore, very, very selfish. Find your glory within yourself. Desire to communicate to this world the presence of God. Embrace the moments of time that you might use them constructively, that you might taste the perfect freedom of walking this plane as Christ incarnate, and never settle for less. Now, in the process of mastering communication, there is an extremely important and very serious element. Innocent play. Innocent play. Well, I've decided to communicate Christ to the world. I have a feeling I've spent many lifetimes trying to do the opposite, but the past has passed away. Thank God for that. And today I choose anew. How do I communicate Christ in this moment? I'll ask the Comforter. I'll give up my own thinking and simply ask, what would be the best way to communicate Christ in this moment? If you really want to have fun, tell the one in front of you, you know, I've decided to communicate Christ in this moment. Now just take a deep breath and give me some time here, because I am learning by doing. Rest assured that if you would begin each communication in that way, you will immediately disarm the one in front of you. And you will have asked them to offer you the space of innocence. Makes it easier for them and easier for you. Then communicate whatever you will, and then ask them, well, how did I do? Did you feel it? I really love you. That's my intention here. How did it come across? In other words, bring innocent playfulness to your communication. See yourself as a child who is on their way to remembrance of mastery. Have fun on your planet. Drop the seriousness, drop the veils, the personas and the egos in which the world has taught you that you need to look like you're already an expert. What do you have the commercial, never let them see you sweat? Why not let them see you sweat? Look, I'm just here trying to embody Christ. That's all I'm committed to. I love you, you're innocent. Now just take a breath, give me a moment, and we'll see how I do. Then touch them. Then kiss them. Then if it is words that need to come, speak the words. If it is a feeling that needs to be shared, share the feeling from the place of your perfect innocence and the fact that you are a student in the University of God Consciousness. So much seriousness comes into your communications one with another. And seriousness is the opposite of the kingdom. Last of all, in this short communication, always begin by acknowledging your oneness, your union with the one to whom you would communicate, whether person, whether plant, whether mineral. When you go to water a flower, begin by acknowledging your oneness. Therefore, see the sacredness of the moment and give it over to the Comforter, who alone can guide it into bearing much good fruit. And yes, I know very much that in your world there are still a few minds on your planet that prefer conflict over peace. Dissonance rather than resonance. Does it matter? If you wait for another mind to want what you want, you will never achieve what you want. Be, therefore, what you most desire, and you are Christ. You are the light that lights the world. You are the field of love that attracts others to release their illusions, to release their suffering, to let go of their seriousness, to let go of all attempts to defend their rightness. You become the field that attracts the seeker of reality to itself, because you have accepted it first for yourself. Many of you that will hear these words know that I have said that the teacher of God has one responsibility: to accept the atonement for him or herself. If you are reluctant to master the forms of your communication, have you truthfully accepted the atonement? For the acceptance of the atonement pops the mind open, and you realize that your brother or sister is yourself, and you can only have what you give away. That is why communication is sacred. That is why it has always been taught: observe the thoughts in your mind and think before you speak. For each spoken word is as a pebble dropped in a pond. It creates a ripple and a vibration that returns to you immediately. Think only loving thoughts. Speak only with the wisdom of Christ. Celebrate and honor the one before you, asking only, Father, what would you have me communicate? And in this way, the pebbles that you drop in the pond of human consciousness become as diamonds, shimmering in the light of God's love, radiating light in all directions, bringing joy and abundance and wealth to those that behold your presence. Become the love that you seek. Master communication. For the day will come when you no longer need the body or space and time as a teaching or learning device for you. And yet communication will continue unbroken according to the degree of your mastery. And that mastery will carry you to where I am, to a place in which separation is impossible, to a place in which by simply turning your attention, you are one with the soul of anyone who is present for you. In the twinkling of an eye, you will travel through a multitude of dimensions, and everywhere you go, you will be the presence of light, and you will touch the farthest reaches of creation, which, by the way, goes on and keeps expanding. And you will bless it with the love of God, and you will know such bliss and such unlimitedness that you will wonder why you ever resisted taking responsibility for communication. And you will thank God that you became so selfish as to want to truly teach only love. For now, we will let that be enough on communication. Rest assured that if you will meditate on each word chosen, slowly, deliberately, carefully, innocently, the very vibration communicated in this short sharing will already do much to bring about a correction of vibration in the depth of your own mind, that your own communication almost magically, effortlessly, will begin to improve, will flow from a deeper depth, and therefore will be far more satisfying in your own heart. A teacher of God is a master of communication. Communication is the bridge that brings you home to your brother or your sister. And in the perfection of communication, the kingdom is remembered and restored. So with that, blessings unto you, all of those of you that will hear these words. Master your communication. Well do I know that whatever it is that I have accomplished, and even am still accomplishing, greater things than these can you bring forth. I am just a beginner in the mind of my Father. So, do you think that will be sufficient? Carol.
I think it's wonderful. Thank you.
What would you wish to communicate in this moment?
I love you.
Now, take a moment and go into the mind and simply ask, Father, what would you have me communicate in this moment? And when you're ready, say it again.
I love.
Now the rest of you here, did you feel the difference?
Mm-hmm.
A greater depth, a greater expanse, a greater power, a greater joining. Did you feel it?
Yes.
Indeed. So just maybe that little prayer works. And did you notice how you changed it from you to I love? Indeed. And that is the truth of who you are. Thank you for providing an excellent example for those that will read these things.
Joshua, I'd like for you to address two sentences that I keep hearing in my mind as we go through this, directly out of your Course in Miracles. The first sentence is, never tell your brother that he is what you would not want to be. And the second one is, words are but symbols of symbols and therefore twice removed from reality. Would you elaborate on those two?
Certainly I never said that. Words are indeed symbols of symbols, since they represent an idea. And when a word is spoken, it again gives the message that this is the idea that you are valuing. Now, that is why, by the way, I asked you when we began, do you live in a world where words are not necessary? Since you abide here, it must be your Father's will that you be the one who finds a way to communicate love here. And the wise teacher speaks the language of the student. Therefore, words are necessary in this dimension as a way of pointing beyond themselves to the symbols they represent, and even beyond the ideas to the direct experience of the revelation of love's presence. Now, when you communicate to a brother or a sister in a way that indicates to them that you believe they are less than Christ, because of the power of thought and words, you have immediately placed yourself in a position less than Christ. So that sentence refers to the divine selfishness that we've spoken of in this hour. Do you want to be less than Christ? If not, then communicate in such a way that honors the truth of your brother or sister, regardless of the degree of insanity they may temporarily be choosing. Honor that place first. We do not mean by that you overlook the behavior of insanity, but that you see through it and offer first the truth. Does that make sense for you?
Yes.
Does it help you in regard to those two sentences that somebody must have stuck in there by accident?
It's nice to know you have a sense of humor.
Beloved friend, the further you go into God, the more you have to just laugh.